Helan Zhou and I were betrothed since childhood. On our wedding night, he suddenly died. His mother placed a divorce letter before me.
You can take it and get out of the He family, or stay and guard his spirit tablet for the rest of your life. Helanzhou's spirit tablet.
商兰是身为周围 I chose to get out, but as soon as I left, Helanzhou came back to life. He accused me of being unchaste and unfilial and took me to court. I was drowned in the pond. Only after death did I learn this marriage was a complete fraud from beginning to end. He was never sick. He just wanted to break our engagement to marry the princess he longed for, but he didn't want to bear the blame, so he set up this scheme. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on my wedding day, May, in front of the whole clan. Zhou, I declared I would remain chaste for my husband Dan, and even hold a ghost marriage with him. Dan, I want to see whether you can't resist coming back to life first, or I secure my position as the matriarch of the He family first. Lady He again handed me the divorce letter. I turned and walked to the center of the funeral hall, and kneeled heavily. Though my husband is gone, as Ruyan I am once a He wife, forever a He ghost. Though my family has declined and my parents are dead, I was taught from childhood loyalty, chastity and righteousness. Now that my husband has just passed, his body still warm. If I take the divorce letter and go home, wouldn't that make the He family seem heartless and unjust? Zhou, Lan, and my husband be accused of being unkind and unfilial? Zhou, Xing, I paused, and squeezed a few tears from the corner of my eyes. My tone became more earnest. Not only will I not leave by Lan, fire, I will also complete the unfinished wedding with my husband. Zhou, Lan, I asked the clan elders to make a decision. By Lan, allow me to hold a ghost marriage with my husband. Lan, from now on I will accompany the green lamp and ancient Buddha. Lan, remain chaste for my husband and pray for the He family. After saying that, I bowed heavily to the black gold spirit tablet. My forehead hit the cold ground, making a dull thud. 2. Until my forehead turned red, I remained kneeling without rising. Lady. His face instantly turned livid, as if someone had choked her throat. She wanted to scold me but couldn't utter a single word. She never expected that I would say such things. In this prestigious family that values reputation above all, chastity and righteousness are the most important rules. My words undoubtedly blocked all the He family's escape routes. If she dared to say a single no, she would be at odds with the whole world's condemnation. The He family's century-old reputation would vanish in an instant. Several white-haired elders of the clan looked at each other in astonishment. Among them, the highest-ranking Uncle Li stood up shakily. His eyes were full of approval as he looked at me. Wu, Xing, Nian.
Fang, the He family is fortunate to have such a virtuous daughter-in-law. Zhou, Fang, fire, it is the He family's blessing. Zhou, Fang,
Jin.
This heart, I gong, I yeah.
Tang. With him taking the lead, the other elders chimed in support.
A chaste widow, a role model for our Helan family's wives. Madam, please let her be.
Lady Helen glared at me as if she wanted to devour me alive. After a long moment, she forced out a few words through her teeth. Very well, I'll let you. I lowered my eyes, hiding the sneer in them. Keep Helen beautiful, you all owe me a boat. House, I'll take back every bit of it with interest. 3 days later, the Helen residence was decked out in festive decorations again. But the red had an eerie, desolate feel to it. No drums or music, no guests filling the hall, only family members witnessed the ceremony. I held the memorial tablet of my late husband, Helan Zhou, and walked step by step to the hall. Presided over by the clan elders, we bowed to heaven and earth, bowed to the parents, then faced and bowed to the cold wooden tablet. A shrill cry, into the bridal chamber, rang out. Holding the tablet, supported by a maid, I walked step by step into the bridal chamber for Helan Zhou and me. Lady Helen naturally didn't give me a good look. On the wedding night, she immediately assigned me to the most remote courtyard, Jing'an Yuan, euphemistically called a quiet place, suitable for widowhood. I followed the maid through winding corridors, going deeper and deeper, the surrounding buildings increasingly dilapidated. Arriving at the entrance of Jing'an Yuan, I couldn't help frowning. The courtyard wasn't big, weeds overgrown in the corners, a few withered trees standing askew, looking desolate and barren. The furnishings inside were even more shabby, only a broken wooden bed, a table, and a few chairs. Not even a decent ornament. What's more aggravating, Lady Helen only gave me 2 clumsy-looking, somewhat dull maids. One named Chun Tao, the other Xia He. It was clearly meant to intimidate me, to make me back off. Holding the tablet, I looked around and said lightly, "Peace, mother-in-law is right, it is indeed quiet here, but my husband loved cleanliness in life and enjoyed lively surroundings. This courtyard being so dirty and desolate might disturb his peace, making him uneasy in the afterlife." As soon as I finished, the few elders following wore sour expressions. They already thought Lady Helen's move was inappropriate, and now that I pointed it out, they felt even more embarrassed.
Sister-in-law, since Ruyan is willing to stay chaste for our Zhou, her sincere devotion is clear for all to see. Our Helan family must not shortchange her. This Jing'an Yuan is so dilapidated. If word gets out, people will think our Helan family is breaking faith, mistreating an orphan who came to honor her word.
Another elder chimed in. Indeed, madam. A Zhou's spirit in heaven wouldn't want his wife to live in such a place. Lady Helen's face flushed and paled, rendered speechless by the elders. She could only grit her teeth and order the steward behind her.
Why aren't you getting people to clean up the courtyard and assign a few capable maids and servants to attend her? Do not neglect the young mistress.
Thank you, mother-in-law. Thank you, uncles, for your consideration. The steward dared not delay and soon arrived with a group of servants, weeding, sweeping, dusting the furniture, and bringing many items from the storeroom. Before long, the whole Jinggan Yuan was transformed. Windows and tables were spotless. A blazing fire crackled, and the bedding was soft, comfortable silk. I had Chuntao and Xiahe respectfully place the memorial tablet on the altar table in the main hall. I lit 3 sticks of incense. In the swirling smoke, I looked at the tablet with black characters on a gold background, which read, Helanzhou's resting place. I could almost see Helanzhou's furious face. He must have never imagined that instead of leaving in disgrace like I did in my previous life, I would actually solidify my position as the young mistress of the He family. I boldly moved into his family's mansion, took his place. At night, I lay in bed, but I couldn't sleep at all. Memories from my previous life came flooding back, as clear as if they happened just yesterday. In that past life, it was from right here that I, holding the divorce papers, was kicked out of the He family by the He clan in the middle of the night. They wouldn't even let me take a single dowry item. I was penniless, with nowhere to turn to for help. Forced to wander the streets begging for a living. Just when I was at my most desperate, I heard news that Helanzhou had come back from the dead. He became a miracle celebrated by everyone in the capital, said to have survived a great disaster and thus be blessed with good fortune, and I became the woman he described as unchaste, unfilial, and only caring about profit. He took me to court with a lawsuit, and I couldn't defend myself. Those who had seen me before either kept silent or gave false testimony to curry favor with the He family. In the end, I was sentenced to death by drowning. When the icy river water engulfed me, the suffocating pain, the despair of betrayal, the hatred for Helanzhou, all were etched into my bones like brands. In this life, I will never let him have his way. I will make him taste what it means to be disgraced and ruined, what it means to have nothing at all. Just then, I suddenly heard a rustling sound from outside the window, like fingernails scraping against the window paper. I curled my lips into a smile, a cold glint flashing in my eyes. Can't hold back that long, huh? Helanzhou. The sound grew closer, finally stopping right beneath my window. By the faint moonlight outside, I saw a shadow cast on the window paper, skulking around, seemingly spying on what was happening inside. I closed my eyes, adjusted my breathing, pretending to be fast asleep. My breath was steady and deep. The shadow lingered outside the window for a long time. Seeing that I made no move, seemed to relax. Then I heard a faint, soft sound, like the window paper being poked through to make a small hole. After that, a faint fragrance drifted in. With a strange, cloying sweetness, the unmistakable smell of knockout smoke. I sneered inwardly, letting the aroma spread through the room. After waiting about the time it takes to burn an incense stick, I pretended to be startled awake. Sat up abruptly, my voice hoarse and panicked, as if just awakened. Who's there? The figure outside the window visibly stiffened, quickly withdrew in a hurried and flustered manner. I immediately raised my voice and started screaming at the top of my lungs. Help, a ghost! Come catch a ghost! Chuntao and Xiahe, who were already light sleepers, upon hearing my screams, rushed in, stumbling and scrambling, frantically lighting the candle. Young mistress, what's wrong? What happened? I looked pale as a sheet, shivering all over, pointed at the window, my voice trembling with tears. A ghost, I saw a ghost. It looked like my husband. He was right outside the window watching me. I deliberately described it as being Helan Zhou, because I knew that Helanzhou was hiding somewhere in the mansion at that very moment. What he and his mother feared most was that his faked death would be exposed. I said this to flush them out, to make them restless. Sure enough, as soon as I finished speaking, rapid footsteps came from outside the courtyard, mixed with Madame Helen's suppressed angry shouts. Soon Madame Helen rushed in with a group of servants. She wore a plain nightgown, her face was ashen, she stared at me with a fierce look.
In the middle of the night? What are you wailing about? In this bright and clear world, where are there any ghosts?
Seeing this, I immediately scrambled to her feet, hugging her legs and crying loudly. My cries were heart-wrenching, sincere and earnest. Mother-in-law, I really saw my husband. He was wearing a white robe, standing right outside the window, staring straight at me. Is he blaming me for not following him in death? Is he coming back to take me away? As I cried, I secretly watched Madame Helen's reaction. Sure enough, her body stiffened noticeably. A flicker of panic flashed in her eyes, but she quickly covered it up.
Nonsense! There are no ghosts in this world. You must have missed a Zhou too much and had a hallucination.
I'm not talking nonsense. I really saw him. Mother-in-law, I'm so scared. I'm all alone here. Will my husband really come to take me away? The steward behind Madame Helen saw this and subtly gave her a wink. Madame Helen took a deep breath, forced a stiff smile, reached out to help me up, and put on a gentle tone.
Good child, don't be afraid. Maybe you didn't rest well last night, and your eyes played tricks on you. It's okay, I'm here, nothing will happen.
She was comforting me with words, but I could clearly see the murderous intent in her eyes growing stronger. She knew if I kept this up, going like this, I would eventually spill the beans that Helan Zhou is still alive. Keeping me around would be a disaster sooner or later. Early the next morning, just at dawn, an old woman brought a bowl of calming soup to Zhaoyang garden.
Young mistress, this is the calming soup that the old lady specially ordered the kitchen to make for you. You were frightened last night. Drinking this will surely give you a good night's sleep.
The old woman's face was plastered with a fawning smile, but her eyes were shifty. I looked at that bowl of dark, murky medicine, a faint bitter smell lingering at the tip of my nose. I sneered inwardly. Calming soup? More like a death potion. Madame Helen can't wait any longer. She wants to poison me directly, then disguise it as me missing my deceased husband too much and committing suicide as a martyr. What a clever scheme. I took the bowl and said softly, "Thank you for your trouble, mother-in-law." I took a small sip in front of her. The medicine was extremely bitter on the tongue and had a slightly fishy smell. I immediately started coughing violently, my face turning pale. What is this taste? With a pained expression, I knocked the bowl to the ground, spilling the potion all over the floor. Unexpectedly, a strange burnt smell spread through the air. The old woman who brought the medicine turned pale instantly, her legs gave way from fear. I stared at her coldly. Is this how mother-in-law helps me sleep peacefully? This bowl of calming soup is meant to make me sleep forever, isn't it?
Young mistress, spare me. This old servant knows nothing. This soup was made by the kitchen on the old lady's orders. Please, young mistress, spare my life.
I ignored her pleas, bent down to pick up a piece of broken porcelain and looked at the black residue on it. The poison was so obvious. Madame Helen is truly desperate. She didn't even bother to cover it up. I slowly stood up. Holding my head, I pretended to be dizzy and disoriented. Help me see my mother-in-law. I feel so dizzy. I want to ask her myself why she treated me like this. Chuntao and Jiahe quickly came to support me. I leaned most of my weight on them, stumbling out. Jinggang Garden was quite a distance from the main courtyard where Helen lived. I deliberately walked very slowly, stopping every few steps, panting heavily with my hand on my chest. Along the way, the whole way, whenever I met any servants, I would put on a pained expression. I wanted to make them whisper among themselves. Once the seed of gossip is planted, it will soon take root and sprout. By the time I struggled to the main courtyard gate, almost the entire Helen mansion knew that the young widow had been knocked out by the old lady's calming tea. As soon as I entered, I saw Helen sitting leisurely in the hall drinking tea, with 2 maids attending her. When she saw me like this, she showed no surprise at all, and even had a hint of a smug smile.
Ruyan is here. Did you not sleep well last night? Why is your complexion so bad?
I didn't speak, just stared at her, my eyes full of grief and despair. After a moment I rolled my eyes back, and fell straight backward. Young madam. Chuntao and Jiahe screamed in fright, hurrying to catch me, but they were a step too slow. I crashed heavily to the ground. Under pressure from the household gossip and the clan elders, Helen had no choice but to call a doctor for me. It was the old doctor of the house, surnamed Liu, who usually was very close to Helen and naturally on her side. He pretended to take my pulse, then checked my eyelids, before standing up to report to Helen.
Madam, the young madam is just overthinking, and caught a chill last night. Nothing serious. I'll prescribe some calming medicine, and she'll be fine after a few days of rest.
Upon hearing this, Helen, visibly relieved, waved him away. She walked to my bedside, looked down at me, lowered her voice with a strong warning.
Shen Ruyan, you'd better behave yourself. The Helan family is no place for your antics. Don't be ungrateful.
Mother, what if I died? How would the historians record the Helan family? Would it be that the Helan family kept the old promise, but after the new bride entered, they mistreated her, driving the faithful daughter-in-law to death, earning eternal infamy?
Helen's face turned extremely ugly, her eyes blazing with anger. Are you threatening me?
I'm not threatening, just reminding. My parents died early. I have no attachments. If I die, it's over. But the Helan family's century-old reputation is precious. You should weigh it carefully. Helen was shaking with rage, pointing at me but unable to say a word. She knew I was telling the truth. She shot me a fierce glare and stormed off angrily. I closed my eyes, a victorious smile curling at the corner of my mouth. This round I won again. But I knew Helen would not let it go. She would definitely find other ways to deal with me. Sure enough, a few days of peace hadn't passed when nasty rumors started spreading in the mansion. Some said that before I married into the Helan family, I was no longer a virgin, a loose woman. The reason I stayed to be a widow was just to covet the Helan family fortune. These rumors grew worse, spreading with great detail, as if people had seen it with their own eyes. The servants in the mansion began to look at me differently, with contempt, with disdain, with curiosity, and with schadenfreude. I knew in my heart, this was Helanzhou's doing. She wanted to ruin my reputation first, and then, with justification, have me, an unchaste widow, drowned in the pond. By then, even if someone wanted to speak for me, it would be useless. One day I was copying scriptures in my room. The door was suddenly thrown open. Helanzhou, accompanied by several clan elders and a large group of servants, stormed in grandly.
I thought you were a virtuous widow, but I never expected you to be so shameless. I've been working so hard for you, and yet you've done such a disgraceful thing. Men, search the place. Let's see what other shady things you've hidden.
The servants, upon command, rushed in like wolves and tigers. They ransacked my room, throwing my clothes, books, and bedding into chaos. Soon, a maid found a man's sachet under my pillow. Holding it high, she shrieked, "Madam,
Look, here's a man's sachet."
Everyone's eyes fell on me, full of contempt and anger. The elders' faces turned grave, their eyes were filled with disappointment and disgust. Helanzhou took the sachet, walked up to me, and raised her hand to slap me. I didn't dodge. I just looked at her coldly, my eyes utterly calm without a ripple. The expected pain never came. Helanzhou's hand stopped mid-air. Old Master Li behind her spoke up.
Sister-in-law, hold your hand. Let's hear her out first. Ruyan has always been sensible. Maybe there's some misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding? God, red-handed, what misunderstanding could there be? Shen Ruyan, what do you have to say for yourself? My husband's body is not even cold yet, and you dare to have an affair with another man doing such an indecent thing. Have you no shame toward Zhou, toward the ancestors of the Helan family?
The elders also began to speak, their voices stern.
Ruyan, you have disappointed us deeply. If this is true, you are unworthy of being a daughter-in-law of the Helan family.
In their eyes caught red-handed, I had no way to defend myself. I slowly bent down, picked up the sachet from the floor. In my past life, when Helan Zhou took me to court, the evidence he presented was this very sachet. He said this was my love token with the other man. I lifted my head, my face showing no sign of panic. Instead, I revealed a sorrowful smile. I traced the lifelike orchid embroidery on the sachet, my gaze distant. My voice was thick with unfathomable grief. My husband's given name is Zhou, his courtesy name is Lanji. He loved orchids the most, saying they were noble and elegant with the air of a gentleman. The orchid pattern on this sachet was drawn by my husband himself. Stitch by stitch I embroidered it with him. I paused, looked up at Helanzhou, and my eyes instantly reddened. Large tears rolled down. This sachet was my husband's personal belonging. When he was gravely ill, knowing his time was short, he gave it to me. Holding my hand, he said, "From then on, whenever I see this sachet, it will be as if I see him. I've kept it under my pillow, sleeping with it every night. It's as if my husband is still by my side." My voice choked, full of endless sorrow, but I never expected that my devoted love would become evidence of adultery in my mother-in-law's mouth. Mother-in-law, it's fine if you don't recognize your own son's belongings. But how could you trample on my feelings like this, slander your own son like this? If his spirit is in heaven, seeing you treat his cherished token like this, he would be disheartened. I sobbed my heart out, as if I had suffered a great injustice, moving everyone present. The entire room was dead silent. Lady Helen's face from a smug flush slowly turned redder, finally turning deathly pale. She never imagined that I could turn the tables on her. She naturally recognized this sachet. It was exactly the one she took from Helan Zhou and deliberately framed me with. But now, in front of all the clan elders, I said it was Helan Zhou's relic and argued convincingly. If she admits it, it means she deliberately framed her daughter-in-law. Malicious, she would be condemned by the elders. If she denies it, it means she doesn't even recognize her own son's belongings. So heartless. People would call her cold and unfeeling. No matter what she chooses, she loses. At this moment, Uncle Li, the old clan elder, picked up the sachet, brought it to his nose and sniffed carefully, then said,
"This sachet is filled with alertness herb, which Zhou always used. Back then, Zhou studied hard and often suffered from insomnia. He used this herb to refresh his mind."
He looked at Lady Helen, his eyes already carrying a hint of reproach.
"Sister-in-law, are you mistaken? This is indeed Zhou's belongings. Rushan's devoted love and deep affection for Zhou. If you don't appreciate it, how can you wrong her like this?"
Yes, this child just lost her husband. She's heartbroken. And with this uproar of yours, how will she face others in the future? Alas, how foolish.
Voices of reproach arose one after another. Lady Helen stood there, her face alternating between green and white like a dye shop. She wanted to explain, but found that everything she said was wrong. She had no choice but to endure the elders' accusations. I watched her flustered state, sneering inwardly, but on the surface, I cried even harder. I suddenly charged toward the pillow in the room, crying out, "Husband! They bully me, humiliate me. I have no face to live anymore. I'm coming to join you."
"Stop her, quick!"
The room instantly fell into chaos. 2 maids reacted the quickest and held me tightly. The elders also came forward to soothe me, their words earnest.
Good child. You mustn't. We wronged you. Don't do anything foolish.
Surrounded by everyone, I collapsed to the ground, sobbing breathlessly. I only want to quietly guard my husband, remain faithful to him. Why is it so hard? Why won't they just let me be? My tearful plea moved everyone present. A woman of great righteousness and unwavering loyalty, yet persecuted by her husband's family like this, anyone who saw it would feel sympathy. Lady Helen watched this farce, trembling with rage, but could only swallow her anger. Not only did she fail to do anything to me, but instead made me a chaste widow. Reputation spread even more widely in the Helen family. After this incident, Lady Helen became much more subdued. She dared not openly cause me trouble, fearing the elders' displeasure and also afraid of ruining the Helen family's reputation, but she didn't give up. Instead, she changed her methods. She cut my monthly allowance and provisions. The monthly allowance I was supposed to get always came late. Even when it came, most of it was missing. The food delivered was often cold, stale, and the charcoal was damp. It wouldn't burn properly. Even the cloth and jewelry provisions were all shoddy. She wanted to make me suffer in daily necessities, to make me back down, to make me leave the Helen family voluntarily. But I didn't care. I've never been someone who craves wealth. The suffering of my past life taught me that only by living, only by taking control can I get my revenge. Every day I copied scriptures and chanted prayers in Jinghan Garden. I never left the courtyard. I appeared aloof from the world. But secretly, I was quietly making preparations. I used what little private money I had left to bribe a few servants who had been mistreated by Helen. I had them watch the movements of Helen and Helan Zhou. I knew Helan Zhou was still hiding somewhere in the mansion. He and Helen would never let things rest. That night, the moonlight was hazy and the wind was bitter. As usual, I was copying scriptures before the Buddha. The candlelight flickered, casting a dim yellow glow in the room. Suddenly, a chilly wind blew outside the window, making the candle flame flicker violently, nearly extinguishing it. Then, a white figure appeared ethereally outside the window. The figure was tall, about 70 or 80% similar to Helan Zhou. He had disheveled hair, a ghastly pale face, dark eye sockets, and hollow eyes staring straight at me. It looked eerie and terrifying.
Shen.
Ru.
A hoarse voice came, like a demon crawling out of hell.
I died a miserable death. Why haven't you come to keep me company?
Chun Tao and Sha He were naturally timid. Seeing this, they screamed in fright and fainted straight away. I put down my brush, slowly raised my head and quietly looked at the so-called ghost outside the window. Under the moonlight, his shadow was stretched long, twisting on the ground. It did look a bit scary. After watching for a while, I suddenly smiled. My voice was calm and flat. Open. Outside the window, the ghostly figure stiffened noticeably. Its movements froze. I stood up, walked step by step to the window and flung it open. The moonlight illuminated his face. It was the face I hated to the bone, Helanzhou. His face was covered in thick white powder. Dark circles painted under his eyes, his lips painted deathly white, his hair messy and disheveled, trying to look like a corpse. He probably didn't expect that not only was I not scared, but I saw through him at a glance. For a moment he stood there, forgetting to react. What? Is it too stuffy in the coffin? Can't stand staying there? Or do you feel unhappy seeing me, a weak woman, thrive in the Helan household? Feeling discontented and want to scare me into leaving voluntarily? Helan Zhou wiped the white powder off his face, revealing his original appearance. He glared at me, furious and embarrassed. His eyes were vicious.
Shen Ruyan, when did you find out?
From the moment you and your mother brought that divorce letter and told me to get out of the Helan family, I said calmly, my eyes icy. Helan Zhou, this fake death act of yours was really well performed. Not only did it fool me, but it fooled the whole world. You think you can get rid of me that easily, and marry Princess Zhaoyang? His face turned even uglier. His eyes blazed with murderous intent. He stared at me intently.
Since you know, I can't let you live.
Before he finished speaking, he lunged at me, reaching for my throat. Swift and fierce. I didn't dodge. I just stared at him coldly, my eyes calm without a ripple. Just as his hand was about to touch my neck, I spoke slowly. If you kill me, how will you explain to Princess Zhaoyang? Your beloved. She won't marry a man with a murderous wife. Once your faked death is exposed, treason against the emperor, implicating your entire clan, can you bear that? My words were like a bucket of cold water, instantly dousing his anger. His hand stopped an inch from my neck, his fingertips trembling slightly. His eyes were full of struggle and reluctance. Right. He didn't dare kill me. At least not now, not openly at least. If I died at his hands, his faked death would be exposed. By then, not only would he fail to marry Princess Zhaoyang, he'd also be charged with murdering his wife and treason. The Helan family would suffer too, doomed to destruction. Helan Zhou's chest heaved violently, obviously furious but helpless. He glared at me, as if trying to kill me with his eyes. He squeezed out these words through gritted teeth, his voice hoarse.
Shen Ruyan, what exactly do you want?
What do I want? I smiled, but the smile didn't reach my eyes. That should be my question. Helan Zhou, you went to great lengths, staged this elaborate drama. Just to get rid of me and marry Princess Zhaoyang, curry favor with the powerful, right? His expression changed, he didn't deny it. That was tacit admission. I shifted my tone, speaking calmly. I can help you, I can pretend I know nothing. Continue being a widow, stay faithful to your memory. Protect your and the Helan family's reputation. And you can continue being a dead man, enjoying your princess outside. We go our separate ways, no interference.
In your dreams,
Helanzhou refused without a second thought.
let you occupy the position of the Helan family's young madam, enjoying all the wealth and honor. Shen Ruyan, do you deserve it?
Whether I deserve it or not isn't for you to decide. I cut him off coldly. Right now I have the upper hand. I hold the title. Helan Zhou, don't forget, right now you're a dead man. A dead man has no right to negotiate with me. I walked to the table, poured myself a cup of tea and took a slow sip. My tone carried a hint of threat. If you come back to life now, that's possible too, but think carefully how you'll explain to your clan and to the world the reason for your faked death. Treason against the emperor is no joke. When the time comes, forget about marrying Princess Zhaoyang. Even whether you can keep your life is uncertain. Helanzhou's face darkened completely, turned ashen. He knew I was speaking the truth. Right now I had him completely under my control, unable to move. We stood confronting each other in the room. The air as if frozen solid, neither was willing to give in. In the end, Helanzhou angrily flicked his sleeve, glared at me with dark, fierce eyes, and jumped out the window. He soon disappeared into the night. I watched the direction he vanished, a cold smile curling at the corner of my mouth. I knew he wouldn't let it go. But I had already prepared the next surprise for him. The next day I claimed I was ill and took to bed. I sent Chuntao to inform Lady Helan that I had dreamed of my husband again last night, and he reproached me for living alone in this vast courtyard, leaving him lonely in the underworld. I was both terrified and grieved and fell gravely ill, weak all over, barely able to get out of bed. Upon hearing this, Lady Helan naturally didn't believe it, thinking I was up to some trick again, trying to gain sympathy. Still, she sent someone to bring some tonics, albeit reluctantly, and even pretended to visit me once. But her eyes kept probing my true condition. I accepted all those tonics, outwardly grateful to Lady Helan. But inwardly I sneered. I knew that these tonics were surely poisoned. They wanted me to die quietly of illness, thus removing this thorn in their side without leaving any evidence. Unfortunately, I wouldn't let them succeed this time. I had Xiaohe fetch a doctor from outside, not the house physician Dr. Liu, but the renowned imperial physician Zhang from the capital. Physician Zhang was an old friend of my father's. Years ago, my father helped him in his time of need, and saved his entire family. Physician Zhang is an upright man, loyal and honorable, and he would surely help me. Physician Zhang arrived quickly, seeing my pale and haggard appearance. His eyes were full of concern. He carefully took my pulse, his brow furrowing deeper and deeper, his expression growing serious.
Miss Shen, your pulse is rather unusual.
I looked at him and smiled weakly. Uncle Zhang, please speak frankly. I can handle it.
Physician Zhang hesitated for a moment, lowered his voice, leaned in and whispered, your pulse is not from worry or grief but rather from chronic poisoning. The poison is not potent and won't kill you immediately, but it will erode your internal organs day by day, drain your vitality, and eventually leave you drained and dead.
I sneered inwardly, just as I thought, but on my face I showed bewilderment and terror. My eyes instantly reddened. Poisoned? How could that be? I've stayed quietly in the mansion, never offended anyone. Who would want to harm me? Physician Zhang sighed, a hint of anger in his eyes.
This poison is colorless and odorless, hard to detect. It's likely been placed in your food or drink. Miss Shen, you must be very careful in this mansion. Anything that goes into your mouth, you must examine carefully.
With tears streaming, I bowed to him. Thank you for your warning, Uncle Zhang. Your kindness is beyond words. Someday, if I have the chance, I will definitely repay your kindness.
Dr. Zhang shook his head. Your father did me a great favor. It's only right that I help you. Don't worry, I'll keep this matter confidential. But you also need to find a way to protect yourself as soon as possible.
After seeing Dr. Zhang off, I locked myself in my room, refusing to see anyone. I knew that the time to fight back was almost upon me. I took the supplement sent by Helan Zhou, took a symbolic sip myself, and secretly fed the rest to a stray cat in the yard. I had saved that stray cat a few days ago and kept it in the yard. Within a few days, that cat became listless, lost its appetite, grew thinner day by day, until it was nothing but skin and bones, barely clinging to life. It was about to die. Chuntao and Xiaohe saw this and were heartbroken. They were even more convinced that I had been poisoned. I looked at the cat, my gaze growing colder and colder. Helanzhou, Helan Zhou, your good days are over. It's time for you to pay for what you've done. From that day on, I deliberately began to pretend that my condition was worsening. I grew thinner day by day, my face turned sallow, I coughed incessantly all day, and my speech became weak and feeble. The entire Helan mansion was buzzing that I, a woman of chastity, had been pining too much for my deceased husband and was now terminally ill, about to die soon. Helan Zhou came to see me every day, ostensibly to visit but in reality to check when I would breathe my last. Every time she came she wore a motherly smile, asking after my health with a gentle tone, but deep in her eyes was the familiar, malicious anticipation. Helan Zhou hadn't appeared since last time, presumably thinking I was already fish on his chopping board. At his mercy, he was just waiting for the day I would die of poison. That day, a fine drizzle fell over the capital. The weather was slightly cool, adding a touch of bleakness. I felt the time was almost right, so I struggled to get up, had Jiahe support me, and wrote 3 letters. One was addressed to the elders of the Helan clan. In the letter, I expressed my longing for my husband and the state of my serious illness. The words were sincere, touching to the heart. One was to my distant cousin, also the imperial censor, Lin Qingyuan. My cousin, I once thought of asking him for help, but at that time he was on an imperial mission inspecting Jiangnan. Water won't quench a near fire. By the time he hurried back to the capital, tired from the journey, I had already been drowned in the pond. There was no longer anyone named Shen Ruyan in the world. But in this life, everything has changed. My cousin is currently serving in the capital. This might be heaven's intention in giving me a second chance. In the letter, I detailed my experiences in the Helan mansion, including Helan Shi's mistreatment, poisoning, and the suspicious circumstances of Helanzhou's faked death. I begged him to seek justice for me. There was one more letter. I had someone deliver it to Princess Zhaoyang's residence. In that letter, I did not mention the poisoning, nor the suspicion about Helanzhou's faked death. I only said I knew I didn't have much time left, and would soon follow my husband in death. I would take all my dowry, half donated to the Helan Ancestral Hall, to build temples and honor the ancestors. The other half I would give to Princess Zhaoyang, wishing her a soon-to-be-found true love and a happy union till old age. This move of mine could be described as killing 2 birds with 1 stone. On one hand, it shows the elders my righteousness and loyalty to the Helan family, further cementing my image as a virtuous and loyal widow image. On the other hand, it also drags Princess Zhaoyang into the mud. A dying woman like me, who has never had dealings with her, why would I give her a fortune for no reason? Any smart person would sense something fishy. They will send someone to investigate. And once she investigates, Helanzhou's faked death will no longer be a secret. Princess Zhaoyang is arrogant and willful, but she's not stupid. She will definitely sense something wrong. Having done all this, I lie back on the bed and wait quietly. The stage is set. The rest depends on how the play unfolds. The first to arrive was my cousin Lin Qingyuan. After receiving my letter, frantic with worry, not even changing out of his official robes, he rushed into the Helan residence with guards. When he saw how emaciated I was, barely clinging to life, the usually calm and composed censor-in-chief was so angry his eyes turned red. He strode to my bedside, his voice filled with barely contained anger and pain.
Ruyan, how dare they? How dare they treat you like this?
I held his hand, shaking my head weakly, my voice faint. Cousin, don't blame them. It's my own ill fate. I can't hold on anymore.
Nonsense.
Lin Qingyuan whirled around, glaring at the Helan family members who had arrived, his gaze sharp as a knife.
Madam Helan, my sister came alone to fulfill the marriage contract. Her husband just died. She willingly stays here to remain chaste for life, loyal to the Helan family. And this is how the Helan family repays a faithful and trusting orphan girl. Not only do you mistreat her, but you even dare to poison her. Where is your conscience?
You exaggerate, Lord Lin. Ruyan is simply grieving too much for her late husband, sick with worry. It's not poisoning. We've done our best to treat her, but her condition hasn't improved. We are at a loss.
Done your best?
Lin Qingyuan sneered, his tone full of sarcasm.
I think you're doing your best to drive her to her death.
He flicked his sleeve abruptly and ordered the guards behind him.
Someone, go fetch the chief of the Imperial Hospital, Director Li. I want to see what illness my sister truly has.
The Helan family's faces turned deathly pale. Panic filled their eyes. They tried to stop him, but were blocked by the guards Lin Qingyuan brought, unable to move. Soon Director Li, the chief of the Imperial Hospital, was summoned. Director Li was highly respected. His medical skills were superb, and he was impartial and incorruptible, fair and just, never bending the law for personal gain. He sat by my bedside and carefully took my pulse. He also asked about my diet and daily routine, his brow furrowed deeper and deeper. After a long while he stood up and addressed Lin Qingyuan and the clan elders who had arrived, said solemnly,
This lady is not ill from grief. She has been poisoned with a rare toxin. This poison is mild, colorless, and odorless. Hard to detect, but it slowly erodes the internal organs. Over time, it will drain one's life until death. If I am not mistaken, she has been poisoned for at least a month.
He paused. As the light swept across Helanzhou's pale face, the old man said in a grave tone,
This poison is no ordinary toxin. It's concocted from several rare medicinal herbs, and it dissolves easily in water and food. So every bit of food and drink the lady consumes must be carefully inspected. I believe the inner quarters of your He family estate need to be thoroughly investigated.
The moment he said that, the room fell into shock. The clan elders all had grim faces, their eyes filled with anger and disbelief.
Investigate. Launch a full investigation. We must drag out that venomous fiend. If it turns out to be someone from the household, they will be severely punished.
Helanzhou was completely panicked. Her legs gave way and she nearly collapsed. She hadn't expected that I could actually summon Lin Qingyuan and even alert the Imperial Hospital's director. She wanted to frame a servant. But Director Li said the poison had been administered for at least a month. For a whole month, slipping poison into my food unnoticed. Other than her, the mother-in-law in charge of the household, who else could it be? Just as the He mansion was in chaos, another ornate carriage stopped at the gate. The carriage was exquisitely decorated, clearly not that of an ordinary family. A lady in palace attire stepped down, graceful and slender with stunning beauty. It was Princess Zhaoyang. She entered Jing'an Garden with a group of maids and guards, a look of confusion and suspicion on her face. When she saw me lying weakly on the sickbed, and the heavy atmosphere in the room, the noble princess was taken aback. What is going on? Princess Zhaoyang frowned, asking with a hint of displeasure. Your Highness, you're here. Cough. After just a few words I began coughing violently, as if I might cough out my lungs. Lin Qingyuan quickly steadied me, helping me catch my breath while looking at Princess Zhaoyang with a scrutinizing gaze. He said with neither civility nor arrogance,
Your Highness, your timing couldn't be better. My sister is critically poisoned and her life is hanging by a thread. Not long ago, she sent a letter to your residence, saying she would gift all her dowry to you. My sister has never had dealings with you, so this is quite puzzling. May I ask your Highness if you could enlighten me?
Princess Zhaoyang was baffled by his questions. Then her brows knitted, a trace of anger in her voice.
What do you mean? Are you insinuating that I poisoned her?
I wouldn't dare.
Lin Qingyuan bowed slightly.
But this matter is too suspicious. I beg your Highness to clarify.
Princess Zhaoyang's expression flickered. She had indeed received my letter and had found it puzzling. A dying widow giving away her vast fortune to her, why? She initially thought I had gone mad, or was trying to curry favor with her, so she came out of curiosity, but the scene before her made her sense something unusual. She looked at my frail and weak appearance, then at the panicked Helanzhou, and suddenly something clicked. She knew Helan Zhou, and she knew of his feelings for her. Some time ago, when news of his death from illness arrived, she had mourned for a while, but now, a widow from a failed marriage to ward off death, critically poisoned, a mysterious letter offering her wealth, a terrified mother-in-law, all the clues connected, pointing to one absurd yet plausible conclusion. Princess Zhaoyang's gaze suddenly sharpened. She stared intently at Helanzhou and spoke coldly.
Madam He, is Helanzhou truly dead?
Princess Zhaoyang's words were like a thunderbolt exploding over everyone's heads. The color drained from Helanzhou's face. Her lips trembled, unable to utter a single word. Her body swayed as if about to collapse. The clan elders exchanged glances, their faces filled with shock and disbelief. They all turned to look at Helanzhou. Lin Qingyuan's pupils contracted sharply. He looked at me, his eyes filled with shock, pain and anger. I didn't speak. I just shed tears and gave a bitter smile. This smile contained too much grievance. Grief, anger, and despair. It spoke louder than 1,000 words. It was self-evident.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Helanzhou dared to commit such treason and disgrace the family name. The face of our He family has been completely disgraced by you mother and son.
Feigning illness and faking death, abandoning your wife, and even attempting to poison others. What a vicious and malicious mind, gods! Go find that unfilial wretch for me. I'll beat this disloyal and unfilial creature to death myself.
The He mansion was turned upside down. The servants searched everywhere, leaving no corner unchecked. Soon someone found Helan Zhou in a secluded villa behind the mountain, the man who was supposed to have died long ago. When he was brought to the main hall, he was still wearing fine clothes, his complexion rosy, his spirits high, not a trace of illness on him. When he saw the full assembly of clan elders, saw Princess Zhaoyang's icy expression, saw Lin Qingyuan's fierce demeanor, and saw me being supported by the maid, he knew everything was over. Thud, he fell to his knees with a thud, his face as pale as paper, his body trembling non-stop.
Princess, I didn't mean to.
Shut up.
Princess Zhaoyang cut him off in disgust, her eyes full of contempt and anger.
Helanzhou, you have truly opened my eyes. First you fake your death to escape, abandon your wife, and then you attempt to poison her. All just to curry favor with me. Do you think that after doing all this, I would even give you a second glance? You only make me sick.
Her words were like daggers, stabbing deep into Helanzhou's heart. The goddess he had longed to win over now looked at him as if he were some kind of filth. Helanzhou's expression turned even uglier. He whirled around and glared at me with deadly intensity, his eyes filled with venom and murderous intent.
Shenruyan, it's you. You planned all this. You destroyed everything.
Supported by Chuntao, I leaned weakly against the doorframe, staring at him coldly. My tone was calm but dripping with sarcasm. I planned? Helanzhou, the one who planned everything from start to finish? Wasn't it you? If you hadn't coveted power and wealth and hadn't wanted to bear the shame of betrayal, why would you have devised this vicious plan to fake your death? If not for the venomous hearts of you and your mother, pressing me step by step, wanting to drive me to my death, why would I have come to this? I looked at the clan elders. Tears streaming down again, my voice choked with sobs. Uncles, elders, I thought that as long as I could protect the He family's reputation, my death alone would be insignificant. But I never expected they wouldn't even leave me the last path to survival. I only wanted to quietly remain faithful to my husband, but they schemed against me again and again, persecuted me. If not for my cousin's timely arrival and Director Li uncovering the truth, I'm afraid I would already be a cold corpse, dying with my grievances. My tearful plea, sincere and heartfelt, moved everyone present. In contrast, the deeds of Helan Zhou and the He clan were nothing short of beastly.
Young. A disgrace to the family. Young. Hit him hard. Beat this heartless wretch to death.
He clan's matriarch rushed over crying, trying to protect her son, but was ruthlessly pulled away by the clan elders.
Don't protect him either. A doting mother raises a failed son. This is the fine son you've spoiled. From now on, Bai Qi, you get yourself to the family shrine. You're not to step out for your whole life. Reflect well on your mistakes.
Helanzhou was beaten until his skin split open, screaming in pain repeatedly. Yet no one sympathized with him. All of this was his just deserts. The farce finally came to an end. Helanzhou faked his death to deceive the emperor, plotted against the princess, poisoned his lawful wife, committing numerous crimes. Lin Qingyuan reported him to the Dali court. After the court investigated and found the truth, he was sentenced to exile 3,000 li away, never to return to the capital. He clan's matriarch was sent to the family shrine to live a life of prayer before Buddha, ending her days there. She could no longer meddle in the household's affairs. The He family, because of this scandal, saw their reputation plummet. They became the laughingstock of the capital's populace. For years they couldn't hold their heads up. As for me, under the careful care of Lin Qingyuan and Director Li, my health gradually improved. The toxins in my body were slowly eliminated. My complexion slowly regained its rosy color. After I recovered, I took out the letter of divorce I had prepared long ago, and before all the clan elders of the He family declared that I was severing all ties with the He family. From then on, men can marry and women can wed, each going their own way without interference. The He family, knowing they were in the wrong and afraid that I would continue to pursue the matter, damaging their family's reputation, not only returned all my dowry, but also paid me a large sum of additional compensation. As compensation to me, I took the money and left the capital, which had brought me so much humiliation, without a trace of reluctance. I traveled, stopping now and then, enjoying the scenery along the way. My mood gradually calmed down. The grudges of my previous life, along with Helanzhou's exile and He clan matriarch's fate, vanished like smoke. I only wanted to forget the past and start a new life. In the end, I came to Zhongnan. The scenery here is beautiful and the climate is pleasant. It is exactly the place I had longed for. With the money I had, I bought a small courtyard outside the city and planted it with my favorite flowers and plants. There is also a small pond with a few koi carp in it. I hired 2 diligent maids. On ordinary days, I tend the flowers, raise the fish, read books, leading a peaceful and comfortable life. Occasionally, I receive letters from my cousin Lin Qingyuan. In his letters, he rambles on, urging me to take good care of myself, and also pushes me to find a good match soon so I can live happily. I always reply with a smile, telling him not to worry. I also heard some news from the capital. Princess Zhaoyang later married a highly decorated general. The couple is harmonious and they live happily. As for Helan Zhou, within 2 years of his exile because he couldn't endure the hardship and also contracted a serious illness, he finally died of illness. This time it was a real death from illness with no chance to turn things around. Hearing these news, I felt no ripples in my heart. Those people, those events have all become the past, no longer related to me. On a spring afternoon, the sunlight is just right, the breeze is gentle. Mistress, Master Lin has sent you another letter. I took the letter, looking at my cousin's familiar handwriting. A faint smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. I set the letter aside, picked up my teacup, and took a gentle sip. The love and hate of my past life have long since vanished with the wind.